Stop the stress loop in 7 minutes. Stress doesn't end by itself, it loops. And the longer it loops, the louder it gets. This book shows you how to interrupt it before it consumes your day. You know the feeling, the tightness in your chest that won't go away, the thoughts that won't stop spinning, the urgency that makes everything feel critical. That's the stress loop, and it's not happening because something is wrong with you. It's happening because stress is designed to loop, to keep you activated, to keep you moving, to keep you ready for the next threat. But in modern life, the threats never end. They just keep coming, one after another. Email, deadline, conflict, worry, responsibility. And your stress response never gets the signal to stop. So it loops over and over, getting stronger each time, until you're not just stressed about one thing. You're stressed about everything, and the stress itself becomes the problem. This book is not about eliminating stress from your life. That's not possible, and it's not necessary. This book is about interrupting the loop, breaking the cycle, stopping stress from feeding on itself. And you can do it in 7 minutes. Not 7 hours, not 7 days. 7 minutes. 1 minute for each step, each interruption, each shift that brings you back to yourself. You don't need to wait until you have time. You don't need to wait until things calm down. You can do this right now. In the middle of your stress, in the middle of your day, in the middle of the loop. And when you do, something shifts, not everything, but something. And that something is enough to break the cycle, to give you space, to let you breathe. So if you're in the loop right now, and you probably are, stay here for the next 7 minutes, and let's stop this together. Introduction. Why stress repeats and why willpower doesn't stop it. Stress is not a single event. It's a cycle, and cycles repeat. That's what makes them cycles. You feel stress, your body responds. Your thoughts accelerate, your emotions intensify. And then instead of releasing, the stress feeds back into itself. The thoughts create more stress. The stress creates more thoughts. The emotions fuel both. And the cycle continues, faster, stronger, louder, until you're not responding to the original stressor anymore. You're responding to the stress itself. This is the stress loop, and it's why stress feels relentless. Why it doesn't go away when the meeting ends, or when the email is sent, or when the problem is solved. Because the stress is no longer about the problem. It's about the loop, and the loop doesn't care if the problem is gone. It's running on its own momentum now. This is why willpower doesn't stop it. Because willpower is a mental tool, and the stress loop is not just mental. It's physical. It's in your nervous system, in your body, in the automatic responses that happen below conscious thought. You can't think your way out of a nervous system loop. You can't decide to stop being stressed. You can't force calm through sheer determination. That's not how the body works. The stress loop is physiological. It's hormonal. It's neurological. And interrupting it requires something different than willpower. It requires intervention, not from the outside, from you, but not through force, through interruption, through breaking the automatic pattern, through doing something different. Something that signals to your body the emergency is over. You can stop running now, and that signal doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. From specific, deliberate actions that interrupt the cycle, That's what the next 7 minutes are for. 7 specific interruptions, 7 ways to break the loop. Each one simple, each one quick, each one designed to work with your nervous system instead of against it. You don't have to do them perfectly. You don't have to understand the neuroscience. You just have to do them 1 minute at a time and trust that interruption works. Because it does, not by overpowering the stress, but by changing the pattern, by breaking the automatic response, by giving your nervous system a different option. And when your nervous system takes the option, when it chooses the interruption instead of the loop, the stress begins to ease. Not because you conquered it, but because you stopped feeding it. And that's all you need to do. Stop feeding the loop, and it will stop on its own. Minute 1. Realizing you're in the loop. You can't stop what you don't notice. This is the first and most important step. Because the stress loop is sneaky. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show up and say, I'm a stress loop now. It just happens. Quietly, automatically, until you're deep in it without realizing how you got there. So the first minute is about noticing. Not fixing, not solving, not even calming. Just noticing, am I in the loop? And the answer is probably yes. Because if you weren't, you wouldn't be reading this. But let's make it conscious. Let's bring awareness to what's actually happening right now. Pause and notice, what is your body doing? Is your jaw clenched? Are your shoulders up by your ears? Is your breath shallow? Is your chest tight? Is there tension anywhere? Don't try to change it yet. Just notice it. Now notice your thoughts. Are they racing? Are they repeating? Are they jumping from one worry to the next? Are they catastrophizing? Are they stuck on something that hasn't even happened yet? Again, don't try to stop them. Just notice. Now notice the feeling, the emotional charge. Is there urgency? Is there pressure? Is there a sense that everything needs to happen now? That you can't rest? That you can't stop? That's the loop. Those are the signs. And the moment you notice them, the moment you become aware that you're in the loop, you've already started to break it. Because awareness is interruption. It's the opposite of automatic. When you're on autopilot, the loop runs you. But when you notice, you step outside of it. Just slightly, just enough to see it. And that scene creates space. Not much, but some, and some is enough. So right now, in this minute, just notice. I'm in the stress loop. My body is activated. My thoughts are racing. My emotions are charged. And I'm going to interrupt this. Say it to yourself. Out loud if you can, or silently, but make it conscious. I'm in the loop, and I'm choosing to interrupt it. That's minute 1, not fixing anything. Just noticing, just naming, just making the invisible visible. Because once you see the loop, you can break it. But not before, not while you're unconscious of it. Not while it's running in the background, controlling you without you realizing. So notice, and move to minute 2. Minute 2. Getting out of your head. Stress feeds on thinking. This is critical to understand. The more you think about the stress, the stronger it gets. The more you analyze it, the more power it has. The more you try to figure it out, the deeper into the loop you go, because thinking is mental activity. And mental activity activates your nervous system, and an activated nervous system produces more stress, which produces more thoughts, which activates your system more, and the loop tightens. So in minute 2, You stop thinking. At least you stop trying to think your way out. You get out of your head and into your body, because your body is where the interruption happens, not your mind. Your mind is part of the loop. Your body is the way out. So here's what you do right now. Feel your feet on the ground. Not think about them. Feel them. Notice the pressure, the weight, the contact between your feet and the floor. If you're sitting, feel your body in the chair, the support beneath you, the sensation of being held. If you're standing, feel your legs, solid, stable, grounded. Now feel your hands. Are they tense? Are they clenched? Open them, relax them, shake them out if you need to, and then just feel them. The air against your skin, the temperature, the simple sensation of having hands. This is not meditation. This is not mindfulness practice. This is interruption. You're pulling your attention out of your thoughts and putting it into sensation. And sensation is immediate. It's present. It's now. Thoughts can spiral into the future or loop into the past. But sensation only exists now. And now is where the loop breaks. So stay with the sensations, feet, hands, body, just for this minute. Just long enough to feel yourself here. Not thinking about being here, actually being here. And as you do this, you'll notice something. The thoughts don't stop completely. They're still there. Still chattering, still trying to pull you back into the loop. But they're quieter now, farther away. Because you're not feeding them with your attention. You're giving your attention to your body. And your body is calmer than your mind. It knows how to be still. How to be present. How to just exist without needing to solve everything. So let it teach you. For this minute, just be in your body. Not thinking, feeling. And when the minute is up, move to minute 3. But notice you're already calmer than you were 2 minutes ago. Not because you fixed anything, but because you interrupted the loop. And that's all this is. Interruption, again and again, until the loop loses momentum and stops. Minute 3. Slowing the body first. Your body decides when stress ends, not your mind, not your thoughts, not your willpower. Your body, because stress is a physical state. It's hormones flooding your system. It's your heart rate increasing. It's your muscles tensing. It's your breath becoming shallow. And all of that is controlled by your nervous system, not by conscious thought, so you can think calm thoughts all day. You can tell yourself to relax. You can visualize peace. But if your body is still activated, the stress continues. Because your body is sending stress signals. And those signals override everything else. This is why minute 3 is about slowing the body. Not calming the mind, slowing the body. And the fastest way to slow the body is through breath. Not just any breathing, but specific breathing. The kind that signals to your nervous system we're safe now. Here's what you do. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out through your mouth for a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause for a count of 2. 1, 2. And repeat. Do this for the entire minute. 5 or 6 rounds. That's it. Why does this work? Because the exhale is what calms the nervous system. When you breathe out longer than you breathe in, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, the system that says danger has passed. You can relax now, and when that system activates, stress begins to release. Your heart rate slows, your muscles soften, your thoughts quiet, not because you forced them to, but because your body received a different signal, a signal that's safe, and your body believes signals more than thoughts. So give it the right signal. Breathe slowly, deliberately, with a long exhale, and let your body do what it knows how to do. Let it calm, let it slow, let it release the activation. You don't have to think about how this works. You don't have to understand the science. You just have to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 6, pause for 2, again and again. For this entire minute, and notice what happens. Your chest loosens, your shoulders drop, your jaw unclenches, not because you told it to, but because your body is responding to the signal that the stress loop is breaking, that the emergency is ending, that you're choosing something different now. And when this minute is done, you'll feel it. A shift, a softening, a sense that something has changed. Not everything, but something. And that something is real. Minute 4. Interrupting the emotional charge. Stress loses power when it's not fed. This is the truth about the stress loop. It feeds on itself, on your attention, on your reaction, on your emotional engagement. And the moment you stop feeding it, it begins to weaken. Not disappear, but weaken. And that weakening creates space for choice, space for calm, space for something other than stress. So in minute 4, you interrupt the emotional charge. The part of the loop that feels most intense, the urgency, the panic, the sense that everything is falling apart. That feeling is real, but it's not accurate. It's your nervous system amplifying the threat, making everything feel more critical than it is, more urgent than it is, more dangerous than it is. And you don't have to believe it. You don't have to follow it. You can acknowledge it without feeding it. Here's how. Name the emotion out loud, if possible, or silently if you need to. But name it. I feel panic. I feel overwhelm. I feel urgency. I feel pressure. Just name it. Don't analyze it. Don't justify it. Don't explain why you feel it. Just name it. This simple act of naming creates distance. It takes the emotion out of the automatic response and makes it conscious. And when something is conscious, you have choice. You're not just reacting anymore. You're observing, and observation is power. Now, after you've named it, say this feeling is real, but it's not accurate. Say it slowly. Let the words land. This feeling is real, but it's not accurate. The feeling of urgency is real. You're actually feeling it, but the belief that everything must happen right now is not accurate. The feeling of panic is real, but the belief that you're in actual danger is not accurate. The feeling of overwhelm is real, but the belief that you can't handle this is not accurate. Feelings are information. They're signals from your nervous system, but they're not always truth, especially when you're in the stress loop. When you're in the loop, feelings amplify, they exaggerate, they catastrophize, and if you believe them completely, you stay in the loop. But if you acknowledge them without being controlled by them, if you say, I feel this, but I don't have to follow it, the loop begins to break. So for this minute, practice that. Name the feeling, acknowledge it, and then remind yourself real but not accurate. I feel this, but I don't have to act on it. I feel this, but I can choose something else. And as you do this, notice the emotional charge beginning to ease. not disappear, but ease. It's no longer consuming you. It's just there, present but not in control. And that shift from being controlled by the emotion to observing it is the interruption. That's what breaks the loop, not eliminating the feeling, but changing your relationship to it. And when you do that, the stress loses its grip. It's still there, but you're no longer caught in it. You're standing beside it, watching it, choosing whether to engage or not. And that choice is freedom. Minute 5. Breaking the urgency illusion. Nothing needs to be solved in this minute. This is hard to believe when you're stressed, because stress makes everything feel urgent. Every task feels critical. Every decision feels time-sensitive. Every problem feels like it must be addressed immediately. But it's an illusion, the urgency illusion. And it's one of the most powerful parts of the stress loop, because urgency keeps you moving. It keeps you activated. It keeps you in the loop. Solving one thing, then immediately moving to the next. Never pausing, never resting, never letting the stress cycle complete. So in minute 5, you break the urgency illusion. You interrupt the belief that everything must happen now. Here's the truth: most things can wait, not forever, but for a few minutes. For this minute, the email can wait. The decision can wait. The task can wait. The worry can wait. Nothing will collapse if you pause for 60 seconds. Nothing will fall apart if you choose not to act right now. The urgency you feel is not coming from reality. It's coming from your nervous system, from the stress loop that's convinced you that stopping is dangerous, that slowing down is risky, that pausing means failing. But it doesn't. Pausing means interrupting, and interrupting is exactly what you need. So for this minute, do nothing, literally nothing. Don't check your phone. Don't plan your next move. Don't think about what needs to happen next. Just be still and let the urgency sit there without acting on it. This will feel uncomfortable. It will feel wrong. Your mind will tell you that you should be doing something, that you're wasting time, that this is irresponsible. But you're not wasting time. You're breaking the loop. And breaking the loop is the most productive thing you can do right now. Because as long as you're in the loop, nothing you do will actually help. You'll just be reacting, rushing, spinning. But when you break the loop, you regain clarity. You regain choice. You regain the ability to respond instead of react. And that's worth 1 minute of stillness. So sit with the urgency. Let it be there. Don't fight it. Don't suppress it. Just don't follow it. Notice it. Acknowledge it. And choose stillness anyway. I feel urgency and I'm choosing to pause. Say it to yourself. Feel the discomfort of not acting. And let that be okay. Because the discomfort is just the loop trying to pull you back in. It's the stress response saying keep moving, keep reacting, keep going, but you don't have to listen. You can choose something different. You can choose pause, and as you sit in this pause, something will happen. The urgency will start to quiet. Not disappear, but quiet, because urgency needs action to survive. When you stop acting urgently, urgency loses power. It's still there, still whispering, still trying to convince you that everything is critical. But it's softer now, less convincing, and you realize nothing actually needed to be solved in this minute. The world didn't end. Nothing collapsed. You're okay, and that realization breaks the illusion. And when the illusion breaks, the loop weakens. And you move to minute 6 with more space, more calm, more clarity than you had 5 minutes ago. Minute 6. Creating internal space. Space is the opposite of stress. Stress is constriction, tightness, everything compressed into urgency and pressure. Space is the opposite. It's expansion, openness, room to breathe, and you can create it internally. Even when your external circumstances haven't changed, even when the to-do list is still long, even when the problems are still there, you can create internal space, and that space is what allows you to function without being consumed. So in minute 6, you create space, deliberately, intentionally. Here's how. Close your eyes if you can. If you can't, just soften your gaze and imagine space around you. Not metaphorically, actually imagine it. Picture the room you're in. See the walls, the ceiling, the floor. Notice how much space there is, how much air, how much room. You're not filling the entire space. You're just one small presence in it. There's space above you, space below you, space to your left, space to your right. And you're held in the middle of all that space. Safe, supported, not crushed, not compressed. Just here, in the space. Now bring that awareness inside. Imagine space inside your chest. Room for your lungs to expand. Room for your heart to beat. Room for breath to move. You're not packed tight. You're spacious. There's room. Now imagine space in your mind. Room between thoughts. Room for silence. Room for nothing. Your mind is not a crowded room. It's a vast space, and thoughts are just small objects moving through it. They don't fill the space. They just pass through, and there's room for them to pass, without crashing into each other, without piling up. Just moving and dissolving. This visualization might seem simple, almost too simple, but it works. Because stress is the feeling of being trapped, of having no room, no options, no breathing room. And when you create the felt sense of space, even imagined space, your nervous system responds. It believes the signal. It says, oh, there's room here. I don't have to be so tight. I don't have to compress everything. I can expand. And when your system expands, stress releases. Not all of it, but some. Enough to make a difference. So stay with this for the full minute. Imagining space, feeling space, creating space where there was tightness, and notice what happens. Your breath deepens, your shoulders drop, your jaw releases, not because you forced relaxation, but because you created the conditions for it. You made room. And when there's room, relaxation becomes possible. Space is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's what allows you to hold stress without being crushed by it. It's what allows you to function without breaking. It's what allows you to stay present without being overwhelmed. And you can create it anytime, in any moment, with just this simple practice. Close your eyes, picture space, feel space, be space, and let the stress have somewhere to go besides into you. Minute 7. Choosing how the next hour feels. Stress stops when you stop following it. This is the final step, the final interruption, and it's the most important one. Because you can break the loop for a few minutes. You can create calm. You can create space. But if you immediately jump back into the same patterns, the loop will start again. So minute 7 is about choice. Deliberate choice about how you want the next hour to feel. Not the next week, not the next day, just the next hour, because an hour is manageable. An hour is immediate. An hour is something you can actually influence. So right now, in this final minute, ask yourself, how do I want to feel for the next hour? Not how do I think I should feel. Not how I wish I could feel. But how do I want to feel? What quality do you want to bring into the next 60 minutes? Calm, groundedness, presence, ease? Choose one, just one, and say it to yourself. For the next hour, I choose calm. Or presence, or ease, or whatever word resonates. And then ask yourself what would support that feeling? Not what do I have to do, but what would support the feeling I want. Maybe it's moving slower. Maybe it's saying no to something. Maybe it's taking a short walk. Maybe it's putting your phone away. Maybe it's asking for help. Maybe it's doing one thing at a time instead of multitasking. Whatever it is, choose it. Commit to it. For the next hour, not forever. Just for the next hour. This is not about perfection. It's not about achieving some ideal state. It's about making one small choice that supports your nervous system instead of activating it. One choice that breaks the pattern instead of continuing it. One choice that says, I'm not following the stress loop anymore. I'm choosing something different. And when you make that choice, something shifts, not in your circumstances, but in you. You've taken back agency. You've moved from reaction to response. You've interrupted the automatic pattern. And that interruption is powerful, because stress thrives on automation, on the unconscious loop that keeps running without your awareness. But when you bring awareness, when you bring choice, the loop breaks. It can't run on autopilot anymore, because you're steering. You're deciding. You're choosing. And that choice, repeated over and over, is what ends the stress loop. Not once and for all, but again and again. Every time you notice it starting. Every time you feel the loop tightening. Every time urgency tries to take over. You interrupt. You breathe. You create space. You choose. And the loop loses power. Not because you conquered it, but because you stopped feeding it. You stopped following it. You stopped letting it run you. And you chose something else. So as this minute ends, make your choice. For the next hour, I choose fill in the blank. And then honor that choice. Protect it. Return to it when you drift. Because you will drift. The stress will try to pull you back. The urgency will whisper. The loop will attempt to restart. But now you know how to interrupt it. You've practiced 7 times, 7 minutes, 7 interruptions, and each one weakened the loop. Each one created space. Each one reminded you you're not powerless. You're not trapped. You can choose. And that choice is available every moment, not just in these 7 minutes, but anytime you need it, anytime the loop starts, anytime stress tries to take over. You can return here to these 7 steps and break the cycle again. Conclusion. You can return to this anytime 7 minutes. That's all it took, not to solve everything. Not to eliminate stress from your life, but to break the loop, to interrupt the cycle, to create space where there was compression. And you can do this anytime. You don't have to wait for a perfect moment. You don't have to wait until things calm down. You don't have to wait for permission. You can do this right now. In the middle of your day. In the middle of your stress, in the middle of the loop. These 7 minutes are always available. They're not a one-time fix. They're a practice, a tool you can return to whenever the loop starts again. And it will start again. Because stress is part of life, but the loop doesn't have to be. The loop is what happens when stress goes unchecked, when it's allowed to feed on itself, when you follow it automatically without interrupting. But now you know how to interrupt. You know the signs. You know the steps. You know what breaks the cycle. And that knowledge is power, not power over stress, but power within it. The power to choose your response. The power to create space. The power to stop following the loop. So remember these 7 minutes. Bookmark them in your mind. And when you feel the loop starting, when your chest tightens and your thoughts race and urgency floods your system, come back here. Not to all 7 steps if you don't have time. Just to one. Whichever one you need most in that moment. Maybe it's minute 3, slowing your breath. Maybe it's minute 6, creating space. Maybe it's minute 7, choosing how you want to feel. Any one of them will help. Because any one of them is an interruption. An interruption is what breaks the loop. You don't have to be perfect at this. You don't have to execute all 7 minutes flawlessly. You just have to try. To notice when you're in the loop, to choose to interrupt, to give yourself 7 minutes of something different. And those 7 minutes will change everything. Not your circumstances, but your experience of them. Not your stress, but your relationship to it. And that relationship is everything. Because you can't always control what happens. You can't always control what stresses you. But you can always control whether you feed the loop, whether you follow it, whether you let it run you, or whether you interrupt and choose something else. So take these 7 minutes with you, into your day, into your life, into the moments when stress tries to take over. And remember, you are not powerless. You are not trapped. You can break the loop anytime in 7 minutes. Closing moment. Take one more breath, deep, slow, all the way in, all the way out. You did it. You interrupted the loop. You created space. You chose something different. And that choice matters. It always matters. So when the stress returns, and it will remember this moment, remember these 7 minutes. Remember that you have the power to interrupt. Not someday, not when things get better. Now, always now, in 7 minutes, you can stop the loop, and you can start again. Fresh, grounded, free.